can't get a bigger main event than Kenny Omega and Daniel Bryan.
Do you have any idea what the feuds are? Because, like, you're talking about, like, I'm trying to think of them, and I can't really. I mean, Roman doesn't seem to have any.
In a second.
Okay.
I'm thinking they're and I don't think they're taking my idea, but I feel like they might be doing.
No, why would they take
Roman
any sort of good idea?
Right? I think they might be doing Roman and Elias though, which I'm okay with.
Elias is a good player for the Intercontinental.
Yeah.
He definitely has the gimmick for Intercontinental because historically everybody with a guitar gets an Intercontinental belt.
It's true. It's very true.
Yeah. What a weird week it had been. Welcome to Kayfabe Club. We're doing this.
Yes.
Yeah. Raw was a thing that happened. Probably not I feel like it set up a bunch, but it definitely didn't, like... Yeah. It was mostly.
It was a thing. It happened.
This is what happens when your mid-card belt is your heavy belt.
Yeah.
Or your main belt or whatever you call it. And it's been like that since before Brock, because Goldberg had it. Like, the last person that I remember that was, like, consistently on TV was KO, and KO wasn't there. And then Finn before him, but Finn had it for
a week.
A day. Finn had it for a day and a buckle bomb.
Yeah.
I started.
No, it wasn't a buckle bomb. It was on the. It was
a buckle bomb.
It was a buckle bomb on the.
It was the same move that ended Sting's career.
I'm not saying stop doing that move.
He did it to Xavier at Survivor Series, and I was like, ooh.
That one was.
You were hoping it would end his career.
I don't know if you watched that, but that was a super safe version of that move when he did it to.
It does look like Xavier. He's being safer with it now. Like he's not hurling as much.
He almost ended Finn's career.
Yep.
So, yeah, I actually just started watching that 365 again today.
That's
and
really
like
good.
Right around the time where I stopped was right around that spot.
Surprise.
And it was brutal. We had Raw with no Stephanie or Triple H this week. That was kind of nice. Yeah, unless if I was asleep.
I don't remember any Stephanie or Triple H.
No.
No, I'm a mark for Triple H. I would remember. I would immediately remember that glorious beard and like, huge nose.
What'd be the highlights?
I think probably the most...
Do we immediately want to go into Bray?
I think that's probably the most important thing that happened.
Yeah, probably the biggest thing. I'm really, really irritated because it wasn't on Hulu. I guess because Hulu like cuts out what they see are the quote-unquote insignificant matches.
I know
they cut Bray out. That tells you exactly what you need to know.
Yeah.
And Matt.
Well, I mean, that's a given.
The two of them. So, yeah, we have official confirmation both through what the storyline seems to be pointing out to, as well as the official release from Impact. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are saying that now that Jeff Jarrett's gone, they're willing to put this feud behind.
Thank God.
Where the broken gimmick is being released. We may not see it be an actual quote-unquote broken gimmick.
They're calling it Woken.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
It's all the same. I mean, as long as you get weird, goofy shit and crazy accents and drones, then...
Look, I'm just saying, if I can get Vanguard 1 to fly into Roman Reigns, I'm completely sold on that.
Oh, man, if we can have just Vanguard doing crazy shit...
Yeah. Like, you have a drone, why not fly it through the arena?
Call me cynical, but I think they will find a way to fuck this up. They will absolutely find a way. They will accelerate this and not let it breathe, and then they'll squash it before it has any time to actually do anything, because they're going to push Bray, and then I don't know who you squash first, being Hardy or Bray, because both of them are like just lovable losers is the best thing I can have for careers. So I mean, sure. One of them has to go over, but they're going to figure out a way to make none of them go over in what could be one of the best feuds in either of their careers, because that seems to be the trajectory for what it's on.
The question is whether, or I try not to be cynical, but it really comes down to how involved is Bray in this.
Right.
Because lately, Bray's just been jumping from person to person as someone to be a destroyer. They're doing the smart thing and just having Bray beat people.
Right.
And not talk much.
I mean, what I would do is I would have, in a perfect world, because you're going to let this breathe, and I don't know how many months we have till Mania. Is it Mania in March?
April.
April.
Okay, so we got some time. have Bray beat down Matt until like the turn of the year, and then have him break whenever Hardy gets back, or Jeff, I don't know Hardy, but whenever he comes back, and then have Bray kind of go off and do his own thing for a little while, and then right around Mania season, so like set it up like mid-February, March, and be like, hey, I'm the one who broke you. I am your god if they want to continue to do this stupid Bray god thing. And it was like, I'm the reason why you are now Woken.
I'm fine with Bray
Bow
claiming
to me.
to be god because it fits with the cult character. Just as long as they don't have or bring out like a literal Sister Abigail, I don't really give a fuck.
There's a difference between, and this is the issue that I've taken with Bray's gimmick for so long, is that they don't know whether or not he believes he's a god.
Right.
Right.
And if it's one of those things where, like, to his cult members, obviously he acts like God, but if he knows that he is fallible and chooses to act this way because he wants to keep up this image, that's great, because like I don't think a true supernatural gimmick works anymore. Like, it just doesn't. Like, no. Undertaker's the last supernatural gimmick, and like honestly, Kane is the last supernatural gimmick that you really can work. And if you make it more real, more grounded, but still have weird like things to make you be like, well, what's going on with Bray? Like, what's happening here? Like, what is he able to do? Like, stop projecting shit on the ring. Then maybe they can get it to work. But I would have him break Matt and then let Matt sort of just like fester,
right?
And let him awake or break or whatever it is, and then come back. Like let Bray like lead them into some sort of weird cult warfare. And I still think it's too accelerated to have them do it at Mania, but they're going to. I would let this fester for a year. Like really let Matt
say
like
do it like crazy long.
Like let it really go in.
You want to say like as long as it took TNA to bring Matt and Jeff back together.
Yeah, like really let it push, because they're going to accelerate this because they know the wrestling fans know the gimmick, and we don't need that much of a work up to it. But I just really go big with it. Really do like really have like the Ministry versus the Brute. Just like really do that like weird like dark like cult shit, and then have cult warfare like through multiple pay-per-views, you know?
No, yeah. I mean, if you're going to do it, then you may as well do it right.
Go big, and I don't think they're going to.
What worries me, and not to play the cynic here, but the track record that Vince has with gimmicks that he did not create, with angles that he did not come up with, is not.
Just let him go, man. Like they created this whole thing. Just let him go, man.
Agreed.
Like, just let him do it. There's a reason why this is over. There's a reason why immediately he started deleting, and everybody, like, even I was just like, oh, they're gonna do this.
Yeah.
Like, they're allowing this. So
yeah,
like,
I mean,
it's a big deal.
Been doing the gestures and stuff like that, and like goading on the chants since he came back. But this was like the first time that he is instigating it.
Yeah, because you saw him coming out, and you see like he was like licking his lips.
He's
and
doing
kinda,
the
like,
crazy
like
face.
twitching. Yeah, so like and his hair is now like re-whitened.
Yep.
So like it's there. They'll do it. I have my fingers crossed, but I don't know.
First match after Roman Reigns, look at how great I am promo that set up him fighting Elias is with Seth Rollins versus Cesaro. And there's two things I want to say on this. No, three. I take it back.
Okay.
Three. First off,
Breakaway suit.
I'm so fucking bored with, and I'm really really upset by how bored I am with this.
With Bar versus
with Shield versus Bar.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, but I don't see a way out of it. I just don't.
No, we're invested now. We're in. We're too far in.
I'm not saying that we're invested. I'm saying, who else do you bring on the tag team when they've spent so long pushing everyone so far down?
Yeah.
SmackDown just had the same problem where you basically had to create a new tag team, or you basically had to create two new tag teams to even have a viable competitor, and they're still it's still going to be fucking New Day against
the Usos. Yep.
I mean, they're doing the thing where the Shield's going to get the title back at the next pay-per-view. There's no way around it. It feels like the whole giving it to Bar was just giving them giving the 3-on-3 a reason to happen.
It was prolonging this feud.
I don't even think that it's prolonging the feud. I think that it was just justification for Survivor Series.
It's fair.
So that's irritating. I mean, and all three of us have said this before. I don't think that there's a single person not saying it. All four of them are great workers and are doing really good stuff together. But Jesus Christ, how many times do you have to see the same match?
300.
It's fair.
The other thing is, I will never not be tired of in-ring interviews.
Okay.
I hate them so much, and I don't know why they're doing them.
Right.
And third off, did we see Seth Rollins have a breakdown over his boyfriend getting married?
It's a tiny little stroke, I think. Just a little bit of confusion. The most awkward part is out of nowhere, because Seth says he doesn't know where Dean is or that he's on his honeymoon, and then he wonders if anyone's heard from Dean or if anyone's heard from Renee, and then if Renee put her credit card on the room, because I guess, I don't know, like that's a failed joke.
I'm telling you one thing for sure, Renee Young has better credit than Dean Ambrose
I
does.
guarantee it. Well, Renee's probably owned a home, whereas Dean has had like a cardboard box that he just carries with
packs
him.
around
Like,
in his 1980 Ford F-150.
Dean pays for things in like copper pieces and like fish bones.
Yeah.
That's what I imagine his form of currency is.
The
Like,
only form of trade he knows is wampum.
yeah.
That's Dean Wampum Ambrose.
His only cell phone is a Nokia flip phone that only dials out.
Oh. He's actually got the old like early '90s Paul Heyman suitcase phone. And it doesn't work, but he thinks it works.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what else happened. We had a stare down for the girls where they beat up everybody, and then Asuka came out. Or no, Asuka was in.
So it was actually that's two separate
It's
spots.
two separate matches.
Yeah.
Oh god,
You
they're all blurring together.
You get a triple tag. It's or a six woman tag, I guess, where it's going to be, what are they going by? Absolution, I
Yes.
believe. So you have Paige, Mandy Rose, and Sonya Deville versus Mickie James, Bayley, and Sasha Banks. Alexa out for commentary. She sits there, doesn't really say a whole lot. Sasha comes out, and then Bayley's music hits, and Sasha's got that, "Oh, my best friend's coming out" smile on her face, and then, that's weird, Bayley's not coming out. And then Mickey's music hits.
No, they did Mickey's music.
Did they do
and then
Mickey
Bayley's.
first? So Mickey's music hits, she doesn't come out. Bayley's music hits, she doesn't come out. Cut to backstage where they're both beat up.
Yeah.
And then Paige, Mandy Rose, and Sonya Deville come out.
You
beat
can
up
tell
Sasha.
you can tell Bayley's hurt because her headband wasn't on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
her hair
also
was
you can
slightly
tell that she
torqued.
was never going to be in that match because she didn't have her shoulder taped.
Cesaro tape. It works.
It does every time. And then I don't remember why we get. Oh, it's Asuka versus Dana Brooke.
Asuka versus Dana Brooke. This is a completely forgettable match, except for one thing.
It's historical.
It is historic. It is the shortest match in pro wrestling history that did not end due to disqualification.
Yep. It is,
it's like 4 seconds from bell to bell.
yeah. Dana goes for the punch, and Asuka gets her in the flipping arm trap arm bar.
Yeah, it was a real nice arm bar.
Dana
it was
taps
super
the
well in.
fuck out right away. Like Dana is tapping before she fully hits the mat.
Corey mentions on the on commentary that the instant replay takes longer than the match does.
Yeah, and it really does.
Doesn't she get offered to go for like Titus Worldwide? Like they're trying to recruit Dana now, which I think Titus Worldwide is like the job squad.
Oh, I didn't.
Oh, it is.
I didn't see that, but it's possible. I mean, it makes sense. They need more people to not win matches.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dana's fine.
She is a perfectly more capable jobber.
Yeah, absolutely. She's the lady jobber,
Sure.
basically.
And they need one because they don't really have one.
Yeah.
I mean, all their talent is
yeah.
fine, but none of them are consistent losers.
You can't be a jobber if you're The Rock's cousin. That's a rule.
Naya's probably gone until she stops getting made fun of in the locker room, which is
Okay,
unfortunate.
well,
I
she's
think
never
that,
coming back then.
We shouldn't body shame people, but also people with no or who just aren't that good at it shouldn't be pushed that far up the roster.
Sure.
So the argument cuts both ways.
Right.
I have no issue with her body.
No, I don't really care about her body.
No,
I think that,
it's wrestling talent. Like I can give a shit what Roman Reigns looks like. If you can wrestle, you can wrestle. You can't wrestle.
Right.
I can't wrestle. It sucks. Like
She has a
get good. I don't know what to say.
I will give her credit. She
Please
does
be
have a
better.
pretty good Samoan drop, but outside of that, she's just
As a partial Samoan, I think you have to have a good Samoan drop.
mandatory.
Yeah. Name a Samoan that doesn't have a good Samoan drop.
So that's 3 matches. So we have
We have the
Well, you
make
said
Kane
Asuka,
look
so
strong in his own.
the
they
Absolution
closed
came
out-
out. Absolution came
Oh,
out
yeah.
and kind of fucked with Asuka, and then
Yeah.
Asuka like gave her like weird smile, and then they kind of backed off, which either means they're afraid of Asuka, or like the same way they were trying to recruit Sasha.
Right.
Maybe they're doing some sort of like I don't know, like unfriendly or like tentative alliance between them, or like or it's just face value. They don't want to fuck with Asuka. Like they know that they can't fuck with it, which is pushing Asuka. Either I like the added layers of depth where like maybe Absolution is like teaming with Asuka, but I think it's more likely that they're just
afraid.
Right.
yeah, and then it makes Asuka look stronger.
Yeah,
So-
it did makes her look strong as shit.
We have
you had Elias Roman, and
we have
then
Elias
Kane.
Roman, and I do want to touch on the Elias Roman match. First off,
Please.
really good match for both of them.
Yeah.
I would not have said this just because we don't really get to see Elias in a lot of wrestling matches. Elias definitely has Intercontinental belt in his future. How soon in his future is yet to be known, but he definitely has the chops for
Not
it.
in this big dog's yard.
Pull.
Not in this man's thingy.
From an honest perspective, I think that Elias and Roman have had probably one of Roman's best matches of the year.
Sure.
I just think that there aren't any like super memorable spots, but let's face it, Roman doesn't have any super memorable spots.
I'm gonna disagree with that. Elias gets Roman up for an electric chair drop, and then flips him around for a power bomb.
Yeah, that was really
and
cool.
Elias looked real good there because I haven't seen him do that in any of his matches yet. And Roman's he's a big guy. So.
Yeah, for somebody who we've seen him do almost nothing other than set up little feuds with Jason Jordan and set up little feuds with Balor.
Right.
It's pretty impressive that in order to see his kind of chops, and I think that he's going to make waves.
I'm thinking this is the feud, and that this will lead up to, unfortunately not the small ukulele gag, but I think this will will lead up to, fingers crossed. Raw 25 is coming up soon, 25th anniversary of Raw in February.
You
like
think they
early
bring
February.
out Honky Tonk Man?
I think so. I think we'll have Elias as the Intercontinental Champ at that point, and we'll get like the Honky Tonk Man stamp of approval.
That's January, right?
It's either late January or very early February.
So I mean that gives us plenty of time for Roman to drop the belt.
Yeah, a full month. I mean, and they can do it in any number of ways to still keep Roman looking strong, which is how they'll end up doing it.
Right, because at the end of the day, Elias is a cheap shot artist. I
Yeah.
mean that's his. Or anybody with a guitar is going to be a cheap shot artist.
Yep.
That's what they do. If we can just get Elias to be better at swinging the guitar at people, because the way that he's doing it now is going to just dole out concussions.
Look, he's already better than Jeff Jarrett. So.
Ugh. But yeah, that match I fully expected to be a squash, and it was really good. It was super competitive, and it was fun to watch for a Roman match. We finished up with it was 2 matches,
Okay, it's like
which caught me off guard because I don't remember one of them being a match.
it was like a 2-minute Jason Jordan match.
You have Jason Jordan get thrown out of the ring by Kane and then land fine on his leg, which apparently breaks it or
Yeah.
whatever.
And he starts crybaby.
Starts crybabying.
Jason Jordan's got boneitis.
Yeah, they really
Yeah.
should have focused on the cure instead of being an 80s guy.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Is there a future for Jason Jordan? I cannot see a world.
He was doomed the moment they gave him that angle gimmick. He's done.
I think
I don't want to see him on TV. I'm done.
I think we're gonna get Jordan versus Angle. I think that's how they're gonna try and get him over. Is they're gonna turn Jordan heel. I was never your son. I was just trying to move myself up in the company, and now I'm gonna beat you at
Wrestling.
fast lane.
Oh God, yeah, that'll happen.
I'm pretty sure that's what we get. And realistically, if you're not gonna look, Jordan's already got heat. Just let him lean into it.
Sure.
Granted, it's go away heat right now, but you can turn that around.
I mean, if Jinder Mahal can turn go away heat into legitimate heel heat,
Right.
anybody can.
Well, in Jinder's defense, though, that's because literally every time he does his finishing move, you think he's going to break somebody's neck because he can't do his own finishing move right.
We'll get to that.
So Finn's out. Finn's out to fight Kane.
Finn's out. He has I guess he had an off-the-air promo, which was pretty good.
Did he?
Yeah.
Sure.
Just him in a jacket, even though he got kind of beat up, and then it ended the match with Braun. And all right, here's what I want to talk about. This is really
How bad they're ruining Finn.
I don't care about Finn. Let's put that aside for a moment.
Like, you don't care at all, or you don't care about Finn in this scenario?
In this scenario in particular.
Okay, good, because I don't care about Finn at all.
It's so sad. He's so good, and they're doing nothing with him.
They've given me. I mean, I liked him in NXT. I have no reason to like him here.
So here, giving you a reason.
Nope.
Right. I mean, if he would have had an opportunity to hold on to that belt for longer than a day, which isn't his fault, it's Seth's, then he definitely could have. But you have the issue with Finn of having to come out of 6 to 8 months of injury and then back into
still came back over, but they just
arguably one of the most competitive top rosters of the past 5 years or more.
Sure.
Because you have all of the Shield doing solo work. Mm-hmm. You have Samoa Joe just made his debut.
Right.
You have Braun Strowman coming into his own.
Right.
Brock's still brocking.
Yeah, Brock is back from immediately post Goldberg.
Right.
I mean, you have a half a dozen people competing or who are legitimate qualifiers.
KO was still on Raw at the time when he came back.
KO was there at the time. You had Nakamura just came up. Mm-hmm. You have this legitimate issue where you have a few monsters. You have some of the best talent that we've seen in a long, long time. And here's little Finn weighing $180, and quite frankly, it doesn't feel super believable to have him go up against a Braun and win.
But at the same time, you know, the .com just did the poll last week. Who do you think Brock's opponent should be at WrestleMania?
Everyone's still saying
not WrestleMania, Royal Rumble. And Roman Reigns, who is supposed to be your top guy in the company, has a whopping 5%. Braun Strowman, who is super over, has a 9%. And before anybody tweets about it or anything, because obviously the number got inflated when the internet fans, hit the poll. But Finn was at 42% and ended at 60%. No one was even remotely close.
Samoa Joe, I think, was probably the next person.
Yeah, well, it was Braun and then Joe.
Right.
Finn, Braun, Joe. Roman was 4.
Right.
He's still over, and
right. I mean, from a fan perspective, he's not going anywhere. They're going to keep him on TV until the fans abandon him, and quite frankly, they're not going to.
No.
I mean, with the exception of Thackeray, most of us are still rooting for him.
I'm not rooting for him, but I just don't.
I think that you've just given up on the idea that they would.
Yeah, I've given up. They're trying to ruin him, and I'm just like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, I already have one.
Bray at the beginning of that time.
I was gonna say I also have one. I already have one lost cause in Bray that I'm rooting for. I don't need another in Finn Balor. So I'm done. I'm done picking up lost cause puppies and trying to get them over.
There is a logical progression that you could get Bray up to the top. I don't see a good way to make the storyline work unless if you have Finn beat Brock.
Right.
It's a very rare occurrence that if Brock beats you or it hurts you, just because it's Brock,
right,
and he beats everybody.
Right.
It's kind of
I see it being a devastating thing to Finn, just because he has nothing else going for him.
It would hurt Finn. It's almost as if Vince says, "Oh, we can only have one small guy over at the time, and right now it's AJ Styles, so everybody else to the back."
Right. I feel like they gave him a victory over... I feel like they gave Styles or a Finn a victory over Styles as a consolation prize.
Sure. First off, what a great match. But
fantastic. Probably our best match of for WWE this year.
I absolutely agree with that. But it's just... You have so much potential there with Finn. Finn's nowhere close to retirement.
No.
He's
a young guy.
He's in the probably the best shape I've seen him in his career. He's got Tony Nese abs.
Yeah, he's cut.
Yeah, and
it makes all of us feel bad about ourselves.
Absolutely. But
chiseled out of rock.
This is a guy who is still over, despite the fact that he's getting squashed by Kane, 2 out of the last 3 weeks.
I don't understand the point in making Kane look. I don't know.
Here's my issue right now, and this
I'm glad we circled back to this after like 10 minutes.
I'm sorry, I said that I wouldn't talk about Finn, and then I got
And then
really
you did,
upset
and then you talked about Finn. Yeah, you did the thing.
Here's my issue: is that we're calling Samsung SmackDown the B team. Don't mind me. I'm an
No,
idiot.
Samsung is the B team, so you're right.
We're calling SmackDown the B team, but quite frankly, Raw doesn't know what the fuck they're doing right now.
No.
So let's talk about just the first match that we had, which the first match or the first setup that we had was Roman, right? So we know what the Shield's doing. As a grander plot, they are going to be, or they're going to hold all the titles until
at least Rumble.
Confidently until Rumble. But you have Roman, and they have a match with Elias against Roman. Great match.
Sure.
It would be plausible and it would be good to have it continue on for the next few months because Elias is like the successor to the Miz for the Miz Taraj, or he is like their elected champion until the Miz is done having a baby and making a movie.
Right.
But you also have Samoa Joe attacking him at the end of the match.
Right.
So you have Roman against both Elias
And Joe.
kind of the Miz Taraj and Joe.
Right.
Right. Moving on, you have Matt Hardy is against Bray. But Bray is also tentatively against Jason Jordan or Finn Balor.
Right. Yeah, because they never ended the Finn thing.
Finn Balor is against, once again, tentatively
Vince
Bray.
McMahon.
Hopefully that's not real. Vince
that never
McMahon and the creative team.
Right.
Yeah.
And now Kane.
I would also like to add to the Roman feud the fans.
Yeah. Yes. Roman v fans.
Roman got cheered this week. So
Piped. It was piped.
Are you sure?
There were definitely
I don't know if
during
it
the
was
match,
piped, but it had to have been piped.
You could definitely hear "Let's go Roman." Roman sucks chants.
It's
So
better than nothing.
yeah, it's a thing.
So you have Kane against Strowman. Barely Jason Jordan. So I wouldn't even count that because that's more of Jason Jordan trying to look tough when
Right.
what they're doing is they're setting up that he's actually just a loser
Yeah.
who is too cocky for his own good.
Sure.
He doesn't have that
I guess
angle
the eternal
pedigree.
story is Jason Jordan
Exactly.
against himself.
Right.
But then you look at Braun. They have Braun against Kane.
Yep.
Against
The Mr. Raj.
kind of
And
the
the
Miz
Miz.
Taraj.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of an extension of against Kane.
Sure.
Against kind of Triple H.
Right.
Yeah, that one's a weird one that they're building
I-
because like Triple H is like has the start of a feud between Angle, Braun,
Right.
and a
Triple
couple
H-
other people too.
Yeah.
So we don't really know where they're going with that either. Like they're all in some sort of like baby fetal like root stages.
If they don't start doing great big factions, this whole thing falls apart.
It's legitimately like they're trying to set up everybody to feud with everybody else, but just a little bit. So they're like, "Oh shit, let's just throw darts this week."
They're pumping it along because SmackDown has a pay-per-view in a little while, and they just have so much time to fill before their pay-per-view that I think they don't know how to fill
Raw
the
doesn't
amount
have
of time
one until Rumble.
That's what I'm saying is that
Yeah.
Raw doesn't have a pay-per-view to actually like build storylines to for God knows how long, and they just don't know what they're doing. They're just meandering. They're waiting right
Right.
now. They're just
Well, I mean, even over in the women's division, you have the issue with the women's division of you have Paige and her group have come in. They're now against the entire women's division. Alexa Bliss is nowhere to be seen.
Right.
They seem to be hyping it as Asuka as being the top of it, but they're not going to do Asuka Paige because Paige is probably going to be against Alexa Bliss and get the title. Because otherwise you have Paige versus Alexa, or otherwise you have Paige versus. Paige versus Alexa is going to be heel on heel, but you don't want to.
See, I don't like heel versus heel. Just don't get me wrong. Alexa's over, Paige is over, but heel versus heel so rarely actually works
Right.
because there's no payoff of seeing a heel get beaten by another heel.
No.
That's not conquering. That doesn't give you quite the feeling of, oh, Sasha finally beat Alexa.
You think that'll be like a Raw squash match to change the title over, or
I would, if they change the title over, I think we'll get some interference from Absolution.
because I guess all that makes sense in the women's division is that you have Paige go up against Bliss for the title, and then you have the other two girls in Absolution go up against Asuka.
Right.
And have them get
squashed.
Because if they drop Asuka's undefeated streak before she holds the title, they've ruined everything.
Absolutely.
What I would do is I would have Asuka beat Bliss, and then continually drop the question of whether or not she is with Absolution. Just
Sure.
Keep prodding, keep saying, is she getting help? Because like, have Paige and Absolution, or have her two cronies interfere at the end of a couple of matches. Have Paige come out and congratulate her.
Right.
Have Paige when she finally beats it, like come up and like hold her hand up and be like, you know, like, you're welcome, Asuka. Like, I brought in this women's revolution and you're here because of me.
Right.
But just like, and don't have Asuka really attack her, but look at her confused, but just enough to where it's like, are they together? What are they doing? Or is she just benefiting to really push a Paige Asuka?
You could get a good 2 or 3 months out of that before you finally get the payoff of Paige versus Asuka.
Yeah, where Asuka's obviously not in it, but you know, you're
and that's a good solid pay-per-view match.
In the same way that they did, or that they rushed Roderick Strong, whether or not he was going to join Undisputed Era.
Essentially, no, it's
Except they
essentially
did
the
that
same.
in like a week.
Yeah.
Instead of spreading it out, but they had a War Games to get to.
Sure. Well, and there was always the possibility that Roderick turns in War Games.
Right.
But it didn't happen, which I think was for the best.
Yeah. Keep somebody, or keep one of their top guys as a face.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Roddy should be a face.
Yeah, they're just, I don't know what's happening with these feuds. They're all just, I think they're all miniature for the moment because they don't have anything to work towards. So they don't really want to take a hard step in any direction because they don't want to overstep and then have to redo what they did. So it's easier to not make a move. Like, not making a move is the move that they're making right now.
I hope that's the case.
Holding pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to get a couple Raws that are essentially
We'll figure out over the next month and a half as to who's actually going to face Braun, or who's going to face Brock at Rumble.
Because truthfully, I mean, you guys are thinking Jordan Angle, and I'm thinking H Angle.
Well,
that's what I was always.
I think we get H Angle at
H Angle is
WrestleMania.
going to make more sense.
Yeah.
I think we'll get Jordan Angle at either Rumble or Raw's getting Elimination Chamber this year. So I think we'll either get Jordan Angle at the Rumble or Jordan Angle at Elimination Chamber. But the WrestleMania angle is definitely Triple H and Kurt.
And Triple H is going to have to do something with Braun because they've already set that thing up. So they're going to have to let that thing fester for a little while.
Triple H has 3 possible feuds going on.
Right.
So
for somebody who's
not wrestling,
super part-timer.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's
for a
too
guy who
busy
basically wrestles at
writing
WrestleMania.
shows. So on to
SmackDown.
We got to be at SmackDown.
Kayfabe Club takes a field trip.
Who was the pre-show? That was
Mike Kanellis.
Mike Kanellis,
Ty Dillinger.
and Ty Dillinger. Yes,
Yep, is beaten by Ty Dillinger, and Mike Kanellis is just
in
nobody
a dark
cares.
match.
Nobody cares.
I'm trying to think of all that happened.
I remember more jokes than I remember what happened.
Shane came out and was like, blah blah
Man,
blah.
over,
I didn't like to get. I'm mad I didn't get to fire them, but Daniel Bryan is okay. And Daniel Bryan was like, well, if we're actually gonna like do the power structure thing here that like Thackeray's been complaining about, and he said this verbatim.
That's exactly what he said.
It's weird that you got a shout out.
Yeah,
and that we were the only ones who
Yeah, he
cheered.
kind of pointed at me. He was like, "Well, let me book things," and then they booked KO, Randy Orton in a no DQ match.
Yeah.
And then I think New Day came out and
New Day came out with
much to my chagrin,
with pancakes, which I'm already
New Day's
tired
been coming
of.
out with pancakes for like 2 weeks now, and we're all fucking over that
Yeah.
shit.
it doesn't even make any sense. They just throw pancakes at people.
I think they did it last week because of the lumberjack match, and I get that. But why this
that
week?
made sense.
What?
This week, no. They're like, we can stretch this joke out for longer.
We're just gonna carry pancakes. All right.
Ugh.
Nobody's gonna stop us. We're over with the kids, and that's what matters in WWE. You market to the kids, and your gimmick will stay alive for God knows
Ever?
how long.
Forever?
Yeah, you will never change. Bailey, John Cena,
Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns, New Day.
Oh.
I will call all of you out individually.
So yeah, it was New Day against AA or American Alpha 2.0 with the Usos sitting at ringside.
Yeah, some little kid in the crowd really wanted to get a Shelton Benjamin chant going, and we fucking applaud that kid for knowing what's up.
Right, like in like section J,
Yeah.
like row 22, like way in the back, just one little kid really cheering for Shelton Benjamin, and nobody else is joining in.
Let's go, Shelton.
But they, I mean, for all intents and purposes, Alpha were playing heel this match, which was really weird because Shelton's a fine heel, but Chad Gable's kind of weird and quirky, and
Shelton
like
doesn't, or just has a face that says, "I'm not likable."
sure. Hey, Shelton was in. Shelton was a big heel in New Japan when he was out of the company. So
Or he was a heel when he first came to WWE.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, everybody was against the or Team Angle from the beginning because that was during Angle's heel phase.
right, absolutely.
Which, interestingly enough, Angle did an interview recently, and basically publicly state, or he was asked like what's one of his biggest regrets of being in the WWE, and he said that he felt responsible for Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin having such a bad run.
Yeah.
Because he said that the whole thing didn't last long enough. It was only a 6-month gimmick before they broke up. He didn't really personally get to work with either of them all that much, so he never really got to
Put him over.
or be a mentor.
Yeah.
And he kind of apologized, or like almost apologized to the two of them for just not being able to put in the time, or I guess know to fight for it.
Right.
Which was kind of interesting. I don't know what the fuck they're doing with this promo or with this feud, other than another Survivor Series only match.
This is the issue that you had with SmackDown with Raw's tag team, is that like they're burying every tag that isn't the two main tags. That all the tags look terrible.
Right.
Yeah. There's no real like in story way to make them seem strong and make them actually compete. Instead of having them like trade wins and have it be like uber competitive, like like Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable steal a win against the New Day, or the Hype Bros like do this or whatever. It's just like or the Bludgeon Brothers don't like smash the shit out of whoever they're fucking facing.
Honestly, for Bludgeon Brothers gimmick, that's what they need to do until they can get some kind of steam. And I get that you're against it, but dear Lord, let us have another strong tag team.
I'm fine with it. I'm just saying that like a lot of the teams just get smashed by the main guys. Like whenever the bar goes out and doesn't face the Shield, they beat everybody handily, and it doesn't like you're making them look worse more than you're making the bar or the New Day or the Usos look better. Like we already know they can win. Like give some other players some steam.
You've basically got two full tag teams right now on SmackDown that aren't competing in matches. You're not getting Breezango in matches, and you're not getting the Ascension in matches.
Right.
So Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable, and it is insane to say this, are now the weakest tag team on SmackDown. Think about the talent in that group.
Because
they're now the low bar for competing tag teams on SmackDown.
Right. They're basically, we need somebody who's going to look competitive but not win.
But lose. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because next up
I can't think of a match that they've won.
No.
Well, they did beat the
Did they
New
win
Day.
the first time?
Yeah. I mean, this was basic even Stevens booking. It was two weeks ago, I think, where or 3 weeks ago, because the past 2 weeks we've been getting Uso versus American Alpha Team Member 1 and then Uso versus American Alpha Team Member 2. But yeah, like I guess 3 weeks ago now, they beat the New Day. And so it's just like the New Day gets their win back, but they didn't really need it. Like American Alpha needed it.
Yeah, I would have had American Alpha, or whatever you're calling them, beat them, so they could be like, yeah, we just beat the New Day twice. Like we might have lost to the Usos, beat the New Day twice. So like, why aren't we competing?
Right.
Why aren't we at
Absolutely.
least in the conversation? But of course, we can't do any sort of long-term, thoughtful booking.
That'd be too easy.
And they're like you said, they're the bar, because the next match was the Bludgeon Brothers smashing the Hype Bros and having Mojo Rawley turn all Gronkowski like on Zack Ryder.
Right.
I'm really hoping that that Mojo's next gimmick is just he's a wannabe football player.
I want him to come out like his name is like, I don't like, it's like Marcellus Thaddeus something. Like I want him to come out in a suit. Fuck this like get hype gimmick. Have him come out in a suit.
You want to see him do the JBL turn?
Yeah, I want him to be a fucking douche. Just have him come out and be Tom Brady.
Okay.
Please, like just do that, because that will make Mojo Rawley infinitely more interesting, because the most interesting he's ever been was this week when he turned on Zack Ryder.
And people are going to love Zack Ryder anyway.
Yeah, so have Zack Ryder be
is over.
have Zack Ryder be the hype guy who's like trying to get his hype friend back, and have Mojo be like, no, I'm done with this frat partying shit. I'm now I'm
serious.
Yeah, I'm cultured.
Right.
So
as
that's
cultured
fun.
as you can be when Gronk's your best friend.
I mean, as soon as that heel turn happened, you had.
I don't wear
Hawkins on
neon
Raw.
glasses anymore. my rims are black and or gold.
Kurt Hawkins tweeted at Zack Ryder right when the heel turn happened and was
Yeah.
like, "Hey, bro,
What you
'cause
doing?"
They used to be a thing.
Yeah. They were Edge's lackeys. Just to touch really quickly before moving on.
But
from
that
the
wouldn't be
Hype Bros.
bad because the two of them would make sense, and it would definitely possibly give, or it could revitalize both of them.
It would give Kurt Hawkins a win.
It would give Kurt Hawkins literally a thing to do.
Yeah. I think. Well, he's on his losing streak right now, 137 matches in a row.
Congratulations to him, by the way.
They're actually announcing it at the end of each match he loses, how far he is. So I hope that they're going to do something with it, but likely they won't.
The best possible way that they can finish that is have him beat Brock.
Have him beat Asuka.
Have him beat Asuka.
Oh, Thackeray's face right now is great.
No.
So the Bludgeon Brothers are coming off really, really strong. They're
Yeah,
doing
they look
exactly
good.
what they need to do for that, other than the fact that they look like a knockoff between early Hardy Boys and Kane.
I really
Attire,
like the
It works for them.
double crucifix powerbomb that
It's-
they're just doing.
It's brutal looking.
Yeah,
having Luke Harper slap Eric Rowan in the face,
great.
and then go into the corner splash, and basically have that be the end works because we know that they don't like each other.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. Please make it a thing. Either that or
You can't make me care.
the only thing I'm worried about is
Where to from here?
is AOP was not at the NXT tapings this week. There's been rumors that they're getting called up soon.
To
What
where
do you-
though? To where? Every tag thing needs a.
I think I want to touch on that in just a little bit, or I think that we should just run through what happened in these matches first, though.
Sure.
What else happened?
Uh,
There was AJ versus the
Singh brothers.
Singh brothers. There were two really great spots.
First off, Jinder, I'm not happy
one
about
gender
it.
hair.
Jinder's hair is fucking atrocious.
Somebody
Jesus.
get that man some Soul Glow.
It-
All right.
It's like the worst Jerry curl you've ever seen.
Fucking
If this was Attitude Era, he would definitely be in the Nation of.
Oh yeah,
Domination.
without question. He would be the
The one that's actually Muslim.
they'd make him the Muslim guy. That's what they would do.
damn.
Not
So yeah, we had a couple really interesting things happen. First off, we had a mid-rope Styles clash
yeah.
on one Singh brother onto the other Singh brother.
Now granted
Really cool spot.
there is a moment in this whole segment where I'm pretty sure one of the Singhs almost broke their fucking neck, and it wasn't the Styles clash. So let's just point that out.
Yeah,
it
so-
wasn't the Styles clash.
What's Jinder's finisher called?
It's called
The
the Colossus.
Yeah,
It's
like
a
he almost
Cobra
killed.
Clutch
He almost
slam.
killed this guy. Like,
So-
he landed on his arm, which I was like, "Oh, that's a bad thing." But if he wouldn't have landed on his arm, he would have landed
He would've
square
been
on his neck.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, turn 2 of the night is Jinder against the Singh brothers. The question is that I think that he's attacked the Singh brothers before once.
I don't
So
think
does
it's been
this-
this bad though.
He's
No,
just
this was
like-
pretty brutal.
he's just like that bad, like really, really terrible villain who's like really angry, and all he does is like shoot his
Yeah.
lackeys
But he only
because
has
like he
2
sucks.
of them?
Yeah. I mean, I hate that for villains in general when they like shoot their lackeys because it just makes them look weak, which I guess that's what you're doing. But it's overplayed. But whatever.
I think from this we get. I think from this, if the Singh brothers are gone from Jinder's side, Jinder's, I think he's done.
You think so?
I think he's.
I mean, he's gonna lose.
Shrink into the mid.
Yeah, he's gonna lose. He's gonna lose a Clash of Champions, and then they're gonna have to figure out what to do with him. That's gonna be
Yeah.
interesting. Also,
I don't-
stop chanting USA at Jinder, please.
Please,
Like
it
that made
makes
me
everybody
uncomfortable.
look bad.
It
It,
really
makes this
does.
whole gimmick look ugly. It's just not a good thing to do.
We should be beyond this, guys. We really should be. Like, it's...
We should be rooting against him because he's not good.
Right.
We don't have to not like him because of it, or because of his ethnicity, because he's just not good enough to like.
The thing is, the reason this gimmick has gone for so long is because people are chanting USA.
Yeah.
So he can...
Vince hears that pop, and he's like, it's more...
yes!
Jingoism's still in you guys.
Somebody call Sergeant Slaughter. Please don't. But
We had a 6-woman tag.
yes, we get...
we got an actual match.
yeah.
This one was an actual match.
Unlike Raw, SmackDown continues to book this way better.
Correct. This
so
has been done 100% better.
we get the Riot Squad, which is Ruby Riot now with an extra T.
Now, that's apparently happened due to trademarking reasons.
Yeah, I saw that.
Not just to be edgy.
Is an extra T really edgy?
I don't know, but it's WWE edgy.
That's fair. So we get Ruby Riot, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan, who surprisingly didn't get a pop for being from Kentucky, which kind of bummed me out.
Yeah.
So it's them against Naomi, Natalya, and Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, so
Right.
Natalya started the match. She immediately leaves ringside. Naomi gets knocked out via some absolute great ring work.
Remember, stairs are only a weapon if you're holding them at the time.
Right.
So
And I guess it's storyline because the official Twitter put out that she suffered some facial contusions, and a neck injury from it.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure that's all a work. But still,
it's great because you're making them seem stronger. They seem absolutely stronger than Absolution does, and they don't have Paige, which seems absolutely. It just seems
Right.
It just doesn't make any sense.
Right,
but
because people may not have a lot of
They won't- they'll pop for Paige, but they won't.
Paige just because she has been gone for so long.
right.
But with the exception of the NXT people, or with the exception of the people who are watching NXT, you don't have any fucking reason to be rooting for Ruby Riot.
No.
But we did hear a pretty great NXT chant
Yeah.
during that match.
Yeah.
So I mean,
The crowd was into it.
what they're doing or whatever they're doing is working.
You know what I was honestly surprised about though? Again, it's weird for me that Liv Morgan is on SmackDown because Carmella is on SmackDown, and they basically have the same gimmick. Like one of them dated Big Cass and the other dated Enzo.
One of them's gonna be gone before long.
That's what I'm thinking. And Carmella's, she's the one with the Money in the Bank briefcase.
but off TV.
Right, but I would like to think that the WWE is not stupid enough to waste that first Money in the Bank women's briefcase on a failed cash-in.
Yeah, I think we all see the writing on the wall as far as that goes.
I really hope that's not the case. But Liv Morgan didn't look bad, and she was looking pretty green in NXT for a while, and she was fine in this match.
Both of them, with the exception of Ruby Riot, looked. I don't want to say green, but Liv Morgan got more work than the other girl, and I feel
Sure.
Sarah Logan.
Yeah.
Sarah Logan got almost no work. She's the one who took a Naomi out, but she got almost no ring work out. And Ruby Riot was in the match for what felt like 90% of the time.
Yeah,
she was just working, and she worked
Absolutely.
Charlotte, and her and Charlotte worked fantastic. Ruby Riot's
Yeah.
great, and I'm all about this.
I think the point of pairing those three up is that Ruby's the most easily marketable as far as gimmick look.
Yeah.
Because she stands out. Sarah Logan again has just as much indie experience as Ruby Riot. She wrestled as Crazy Mary Dobson in Shimmer for like 10 fucking years, and she's really good too. I think she's there to be the workhorse for Liv Morgan, who is small, and hell, she threw a suplex, which was fucking impressive because I still haven't seen Alexa Bliss do it.
I saw Carmella throw a suplex at Survivor Series. So
Yeah.
it's more than we've seen in other places.
Yeah. So
So yeah, I'm about that. And I think they're going to handle the women's stuff much better on that end. At least the way it's looking, it looks like it's going to be handled better.
I'm excited because the rumor is we might get the first women's Royal Rumble, and we actually have enough women to do it now.
Yeah,
And I'm perfectly okay with that.
I'm down.
Start the Rumble with the women's Rumble, end it with the men's Rumble, put all the other matches in between. Sure.
Yep. We had KO against Orton, which was a pretty good match.
It's a great match.
more fun
Ooh.
than most Randy Orton matches are going to be.
Those kendo sticks.
Those shots,
I could hear that. We could hear them in the stands.
I know it comes off loud on TV, but you have no idea how loud those shots are until you're there.
Yeah.
There was a spot where I thought I didn't get to see a good look at KO's arm, but there was a point which I thought he was split on his arm.
I think he
under
was,
his,
wasn't
under
he?
his
At
yeah
least
under
a
his
little
bull.
bit.
Yeah, he at least had some.
Orton literally broke a kendo
Yeah,
stick
into the
over-
crowd.
And just grabbed another one.
Yeah. So I mean that was fun. Sammy got interfered, or Sammy
You had
interfered.
Sammy get some interference towards
This was great.
the end in Snore because he wasn't allowed ringside.
Right.
So he came out entrance side.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did it on the walkway.
And did some chair swinging.
I was hoping the whole time he was going to come out in the Generico mask. Just Sammy out as El Generico. Just the one time interference, then runs away.
But I'm sure that'll lead more into the storyline. I didn't know why storyline wise Randy was there, other than the fact that like Randy likes to beat people up and
last week-
nobody likes KO.
Last
So-
week they had mentioned, and it was, or if you weren't paying attention, it was like a throwaway thing, that they had to send Randy Orton home last week because he was so angry at the two of them that they didn't know what he would have done.
Randy doesn't give it. I've always been of the opinion like Randy's like the most mercenary of the whole. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't give a shit. Like Randy's there to beat people up and like
Right.
win championships. So the fact that he's like fighting for like brand supremacy or brand pride really doesn't work for me.
Well, keep in mind, he's not rooting, or you can write it off that he's not.
And I feel like
fighting
him
for-
and KO would get along more against because they're both like kind of like fuck the system kind
Sure.
of guys. Or like Randy's not a fuck the system kind of guy, but he's kind of like a
He is when he's a heel.
yeah, like he's
Right.
I don't know.
But Randy doesn't like to lose,
Yeah.
and you could easily market that that KO cost him a win.
Fair.
no, I mean that's fine. It just felt weird
That's,
to like
that's about as much as I can explain.
because I was trying to read into it and I was like maybe I just shouldn't be. So
Right.
whatever. It's a good match.
yeah.
It was
regardless.
a good match. They gave KO the win, which is great because that means that they're not taking him off TV.
Yeah.
Other than that, it was fine. There were some dark matches which were really, really fun. The
Yeah, we
there
got the
was
205 guys.
or the 205 guys are so much fun to watch.
I wish the crowd was more excited for them because they absolutely deserve it.
Yes.
Every one of those guys can work.
If we can leave our listeners with one message, it is go watch 205 live because they are
So good.
easily the best performers.
Yeah,
in,
it's only an
in-
hour. You can skip
the
through
show.
like half of it if you
Hell,
really need to.
it's not even a full hour. It's like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
When we're between like promos and stuff, it's maybe 45
I
minutes.
feel like we were the only three people that popped for Gulak.
Oh, we popped
I would
so
never
hard for Gulak, though.
not pop for Gulak.
Now, there was a PowerPoint chant during the match, though,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which was pretty good. And that, of course, got no chanting.
No.
So that was good.
Anything interesting happened in NXT? If we can run through it quick.
NXT this past week, we got Kairi Sane versus Peyton Royce. It was a good match.
Which I still think
Peyton
they need
Royce
some
is
work.
surprisingly
I think both of them both of them feel like they need some in-ring work. I don't know if it's like Kyrie has a different style than I'm used to seeing, but she seems sloppy and Peyton seems green.
With Kairi, I think it's the same thing that
It's
Asuka
fun to
had
watch,
in her
but it's
first
like-
few matches where she's got to adjust to the American style.
Yeah, so it
because Kairi's used to wrestling strong style.
It just looks weird to
Yeah.
me. Like I don't want to say sloppy, but just off. And like Peyton, because of that, I don't know if Peyton looks off because Peyton looked fine in the 4-way, but in the singles where there's more on her, she didn't look as good. I don't know if it's because Kyrie's so small and this girl's like like a monster compared to her, so it looks like she missed, but it just didn't really work.
I think the thing with Peyton is she's not used to carrying matches, and so and this was also a house show match that was recorded, so you know there's no really edits to make it look great, and there's no huge spots planned. It was a good match. It was fine, but Peyton. I don't know. Peyton's a weird commodity because what she does well, she does really well. I think she probably has the best fisherman suplex in the company right now. It's just fluid the whole way. But I don't know. It was a fine match. It wasn't amazing, but you know it's worth the watch.
She needs some work.
But
She can get the work too.
the British Strong Style match
Oh,
at the end of the
man.
show.
Hidden
was that?
gem. Hidden fucking gem. If you didn't watch all the way through NXT, and you need to
so
go, you
good.
need to go watch
I
this
will
match.
probably watch it tomorrow,
It is
but I slept all day today.
It is phenomenal.
You get Tyler Bate and Trent Seven.
It's Mustache Mountain is
Yep.
what they're called.
Mustache Mountain.
They're fucking
Versus the Bruiserweight Pete Dunne and Mark Andrews.
Somebody tell
Oh,
somebody tell Pete Dunne that if he keeps making that face, it'll stick like that. That's what my mom told me, and I think she's true. He needs to stop making that face.
I'm just really glad your mom's watching NXT with you. No, the face, it's a thing, man. But man, not every single one of those guys are great. I really hope they get to do the sort of the UK Championship show soon, because every single one of those guys is phenomenal. And of course, the British style is a lot more similar to the Japanese strong style. And you're seeing stiff shots, and you're seeing.
Oh yeah, like there were a lot of them, and I was just like, shit.
Yup, and it's fantastic. It's definitely if I can recommend one match that you see this week, that would be my recommendation. Is
100%.
Pull up NXT, go to the last 20 minutes of the show and watch that.
Apparently, Vince Russo is taking some shots at Pete Dunne over Twitter.
Yeah, I saw that.
And a lot of people are calling him out of like, we get that you've been doing this journalism thing for 45 years, but shut the fuck up.
What's happening there?
Vince Russo said, yeah, that would happen if the match was real. Suspension of disbelief is forever gone in professional wrestling, and that's why all the casuals went bye-bye. Only the marks and the kids remain.
Yeah.
For what?
He's
confused
talking.
as far
I'm not sure what he's talking about, but I do know he's specifically talking about Pete Dunne.
Right.
I think it may be the bitter end, because it's kind of a tricky finishing move, and it does cause some suspension of disbelief, because look, your opponent really has to work to get into that flatliner from that flip, which is fine. I'll suspend my disbelief for that, but
I don't know. It looks cool. That's all I'm about.
Yeah,
like,
it looks
whatever.
fucking brutal.
If you can do it and you can pull it off, fucking go for it, dude. Whatever.
Vince Russo will forever have this massive ego, because he was part of the Attitude Era.
Right.
Part
he
of
was one of the worst writers on the Attitude Era.
He was a great writer when he had Vince McMahon and Jim Cornette to temper him.
Vince Russo's the one that went with Jarrett when Jarrett left.
And killed WCW.
Yeah.
And
Here's
wrote
the only
everything
thing-
bad in TNA for years.
Probably the most memorable thing of this Twitter feud is Matt Jackson of the Young Bucks has been coming to Pete Dunne's defense.
Yes.
The top comment on there is, you guys should have done something more realistic, like a Judy Bagwell on a pole match.
Yes.
Basically,
God.
we all know that the Young Bucks are just, first off, they love pro wrestling.
Yes, they
and
do.
Second off, they love spot wrestling.
Yep.
More than anything.
They're-
So if anybody's going to come to the defense of somebody who's doing crazy, fun-looking shit,
Oh, yeah.
it's going to be the Young Bucks, and more
Absolutely.
power to them. And quite frankly, it's more credible coming from them, because at the end of the day, realistic, or if you're looking at merch sales, they are the face of pro wrestling right now.
Bullet Club has had 450,000 shirts sold through Hot Topic, which is a huge deal.
Right.
They are now even above Rick and Morty as the top merchandise movers at Hot Topic.
Yeah, that's good for multiple reasons.
Which is
there are a lot of reasons why that's good, and it's not just on the pro wrestling side, which I'm not going to get into.
We can touch on that on our other podcast.
Yeah, the Towers Underground podcast. Check it out.
fantasy booking in 10 minutes. Rick and Morty invade New Japan Pro Wrestling.
So yeah, you had the Young Bucks come to Pete Dunne's defense and basically telling Vince Russo, you get in the fucking ring and do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing with a guy like Vince Russo, because I've listened to Russo's podcast, and Russo's got a feud with Jim Cornette, and Jim Cornette's just as much of a fucking blowhard.
Isn't Jim Cornette a fucking asshole?
Yeah. Oh, so is Vince Russo.
Is the same guy I think who's like kind of bald and has glasses?
Yeah.
And, okay.
Yep.
Yeah. I think everybody thinks he's kind of an asshole too.
Yeah.
They're
Okay.
both writers from a bygone era who think that they're still relevant.
Okay.
And they're absolutely not.
Okay. No, I was just making sure I knew this was the same person.
Cornette.
That's who I thought Jeff Jarrett was. It didn't make sense.
Oh,
When you were talking about Jeff Jarrett until you guys had to show me.
Receiving the push that no one wanted.
Yeah.
multiple times.
Okay. I'm good.
No, Vince Russo has been irrelevant as far as wrestling goes for a long time. He killed WCW. He, Jeff Jarrett, and some more bad booking killed WCW. Ran it into the ground, which is impressive because WCW would have died anyway, but it would have died a much slower death with Kevin Nash booking things, which is crazy because Kevin Nash only wanted to get himself over.
Right, Kevin Nash is only working for Kevin Nash.
Yeah, and I'm fine
maybe
with it.
Sometimes Scott Hall.
Yeah.
If Scott Hall can be bothered to show up.
Right.
I think one thing that we didn't touch on in SmackDown real quick is that they seem to be working a Rude Corbin feud
Yes.
for the U.S. Championship,
And I'm okay with
which was
it.
part of the dark match that we got.
I'm 100% pro this because it means that we're not going to have them go straight to the top.
Right.
And the danger of going straight to the top is you don't necessarily want them to win that early because then you run into the same problem that you had with Finn Balor.
It's not Yeah. Where do you go from there?
Right, and where do you go from there? So having them actually work their way, maybe, just maybe, they're learning their lessons from bringing people over from NXT.
Yeah, and
Right.
the dark match that we got, Corbin and Rude worked real well. Like Corbin actually got some real good heat based on the people who were there.
Yeah.
It was
Probably
Rude
the best
and
showing I've seen
Nakamura.
from Corbin.
Yeah,
It was Rude and Nakamura versus Corbin and Ziggler.
Yeah.
And it was probably the best match that we watched.
Right.
yeah, it was.
And it's completely
I mean,
on
I'm
TV.
a fucking Rude mark, so of course it was for me.
Oh, yeah.
But
It was
Everybody got their spot at the end of the match, Rude got the pin, and he started bringing up stage hands to get some attention. Man, I just love when good people go to the top.
right. Absolutely. You can. It's interesting because before Bobby Roode comes to NXT, if you go back and you see those sort of last 6 months of his TNA run, which was awful at the end, he just doesn't care. And what he's given interviews now when he's come over and he's talked about I thought I was done. I thought I was when I left TNA. I thought I was done with wrestling because I think he's 37. What WWE's not going to want me.
Starts at 37.
Right. But they brought him over and it sort of revitalized his appreciation, and it sort of shows in his matches. Bobby Roode's never been like a sort of spot guy, but he's really that old school like mid 80s NWA style wrestler.
He's
where
Rick Rude.
he does his moves. It's great. He's got a hell of a spine buster.
One of the best in the industry right now.
Absolutely. You can tell he's seen an Arn Anderson match before.
He got to be in an Arn Anderson match
Yeah.
during Starrcade.
Yep. Man, Ziggler's just taking spine busters left and right, isn't he?
maybe that's why I love Bobby Roode so much.
That's exactly why you love Bobby Roode, is because he's the modern day Arn Anderson.
Yeah. Well, also Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder are the modern day Arn Andersons.
All right, so I want to go into a little bit of a prolonged fantasy booking. I don't have anything big or extravagant, but I do want to know how on earth do we fix the tag team division on both shows?
Okay.
So we have the issue right now where we have the Bar and the Shield as the only credible tag teams in the Raw division.
I mean, I
maybe
think
eventually we can get Matt and Jeff, but with Matt and Jeff's last few matches before leaving,
I think keep them out of the tag division. I think you got that nostalgia pop when they came back and won the belts at WrestleMania.
you're obviously going to have to do something with them when they come back.
Right.
Or with the Awoken gimmick.
Absolutely. But I'm saying, like, keep them away from the tag belts. I don't think they need it. I think you can give each of them singles runs where they team together.
I'm not even necessarily saying how do you fix it so that anybody can possibly get the tag belt.
Sure.
But how do you make it so that none of them are, so that they're not all jokes?
Okay.
Because we have the issue with the Club has basically just become jobbers, and they're just too good for that.
With-
I definitely understand having them job out from time to time, but having it be consistent.
With the Club,
It's
you put
just
them with
sad.
Finn. I mean, it's that
I
easy.
was gonna say like at this point, like you have Bray, you do
Obviously-
Woken and put like 4 people, including Jeff with Matt. So Jeff, Matt, and 2 others, whoever you think can work with that.
Sure.
You give Bray his own little thing. 3 other people, maybe. I don't want to say move Harper and Rowan back over, but if you want to, then we're gonna need to figure out something to do with SmackDown, and then make a Bullet Club.
SmackDown arguably has
Give
more
Bray-
talent over there, or has more tag talent than Raw does.
Give Bray the authors of Pain.
I don't know.
Move
because do
move
you
Ellerling
take-
off them.
Yeah, I don't think Ellering's going to come up. I don't think Ellering wants to do week
The
to
travel
week
schedule?
travel.
That's fair.
You know,
That's
I
fair.
mean, he's retired at this point. He does NXT because he's, you know, it's
In Orlando.
it's
It's
taping.
a drive from his house.
Yeah, but I don't think he'll want to do week to week traveling. So give Bray, the Authors of Pain.
That could be believable.
You can have
Because they're big dumb guys who'd believe anything.
I don't know what the fuck else you're gonna do with them.
You tell Bray that he's ascribing this book to his new followers. Problem solved. Right there. That's how you bring him in. The Authors of Pain. Done.
The Club, you have an easy thing, and you don't even necessarily need Finn. But quite frankly, put him with Finn.
You don't have. You don't even
but
have to
with-
turn him heel.
You can, or with the Club, you can always just have him, or like have him beat, or have him do a good, competitive program with Revival, and
Sure.
you can have them be contenders again. Because
Absolutely.
I don't know, or because it doesn't make any sense to me why they are not in the running for titles.
They absolutely should be.
If you're gonna do great big stables like bringing back the Wyatt family, which makes sense for Wyatt, and do stuff like do something with like the Awoken gimmick,
right.
you don't need that to be in the tag running.
No, you don't need it to
That-
be, but
that-
you could do
You
it.
could
But I mean,
eventually do that, but it makes but the thing is that having big or like big story driven programs like that mean that you can have other people in the running for the tag belts, and it doesn't take away from anybody.
I would more have it interfere the same way the Shield and the Wyatt family, before when they first started, would interfere with shit like that. I would have them interfere with it to make other teams look better,
Right.
and to continue their chaotic neutral sort of thing that both of them should be doing.
Right.
As much as I don't want it to happen because they work so well together, I don't think you can fix the tag team division until you
gotta
break
get
up
rid
the
of
bar. Yeah, you can't. They're two of the they're upper mid card guys that have been
Both of them
slammed together.
I think at this point we have shown that they deserve competitive singles runs.
Absolutely.
Sheamus has had his before,
Sure.
but he definitely still deserves to be in that running for at least both of them deserve to be in the Intercontinental running.
Have them real simple. At Rumble, if they keep the titles on them until Rumble, at the Rumble you make the gimmick. The loser of this match, the losing team splits up. And you build up to that. Roman or Seth and Dean don't want to split up. They don't want to split up the Shield. The Bar doesn't want to split up because they're BFFs now. And then Seth and Dean eke out the win, and then Cesaro or Sheamus turns
Huge
on
Shield
the other.
pop, Shield nostalgia.
Everybody
Yeah, that's gonna
And
like
it makes
everybody's
them
gonna
look good,
everybody's gonna
quite
root for
frank-
the Shield to go over because nobody wants the Shield to end other than me.
Right.
Nobody wants them to end on such a middling thing.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't really give a fuck about the Shield, but I think that if you're not going to use it to build up one of those three guys in a really big, drastic way,
Right.
there's no sense in getting rid of them.
Sure.
May I introduce you to one Roman Reigns?
They need to. I've been saying that from the very beginning. They need to heel turn Reigns and have him develop a character for a change.
It's the best thing they could do.
He's been
'Cause
coming out to the same goddamn entrance. He's got the same goddamn shield, the ring gear. He's got the same goddamn move set, and he's just the
Have him-
same.
Have him be the one to break away from the Shield, and have him be the one to.
Have him be like, I'm too good for you guys. I've already had three main ones because they said Roman's had 3, Seth has had 2, and Dean's had 1. He's like, I've had the same as both you guys combined.
Right.
I don't need you. I'm the one holding the singles belt.
Sure.
Fuck you guys.
Right.
Yeah.
Have him.
And
or-
it's that easy because like
Have
immediate
him-
heat.
absolutely.
I mean, you already got the heat that he has, but there's more heat because
That's
the
how
people
you get the kids
who
off
break,
of him.
who break the shield. Like people are like, oh my god, it's Roman breaking the shield this time. So like,
Right.
he would be.
it doesn't make any sense for
hated.
anybody else to break out the Shield.
No. Especially since like Seth is like like smoke signaling Dean from the States.
Right.
It seems.
Right. Come home. Like Seth pulled a complete 180 and is now like, Dean, don't leave.
He's
Please, no.
so bought in.
This is a Dean
Seth
Ambrose
Rollins
mark.
is the girl who broke up with her boyfriend to find out that she was the one who was dating
ruining
up.
everything. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
But I mean, as far as SmackDown goes, you just need to introduce more teams. You need to have it be more competitive. I don't think there's an issue with the division. I just think it's an issue with competitiveness.
I love the Fashion Files.
I do
Yeah,
love
they're
the
great.
Fashion
But
Files.
you've-
Take it off TV.
You've got to put Breezango back on the card. Like I love. Look, their
Tyler Breeze
chemistry,
can wrestle. Tyler Breeze hasn't had a match in forever, and he was great in
Fandango
NXT.
can
Absolutely.
fucking wrestle. Both of them are great workers.
So can the Ascension.
Yeah.
All 4 of those guys can work.
So All right.
God, the Ascension got screwed during their call up. They got dicked.
I was reading
All right.
a good Twitter thread about the Ascension recently, actually. They were comparing the way that Corey Graves shits on Elias to the way that JBL shit on the Ascension. And the difference is Corey Graves shit on the character of Elias, or is shitting on the character of Elias, but puts him over when he's actually wrestling.
Right, that's the great thing about Corey Graves is that he does a really good job at like picking a handful of people that he consistently destroys on the mic.
Right.
He never has a negative thing to say about their performances.
Exactly.
Corey Graves can make Enzo look good.
Yeah.
While simultaneously treating him like dirt.
Yeah,
Yep.
while making you dislike him. Like
Exactly.
He's a good. Yeah, I get what you guys are saying.
Whereas upon call up, JBL just decided, nah, I'm going into business for myself. Fuck these guys. And
It's almost like he was threatened because they kind of had the same, or they
The
kind of
APA
had
gimmick?
yeah.
yeah. He shit all over them, and suddenly they're nothing
Within a month.
Yeah.
Within a month, they were just gone.
Jokes.
Yeah,
Complete
They won, I
jokes.
think, their first match or two, and then it was done. Like I don't think I've seen them.
All right, so we went, or did we miss anybody in Raw?
I think we hit all the teams on Raw.
Okay, so I think that or if you're going to go over who should be in title contention for Raw, I think that it should be Revival, and the Club should be like the two teams fighting for number one contendership. Because everybody else can do programs that don't involve the title and still make them look good.
Right, absolutely.
Moving over to SmackDown, just give Shelton and Gable some wins. That's all they really need.
Give them some mic time too.
Make
Yeah.
it more competitive across the board. I think you make it more competitive across the board, and bring the two teams that you don't have on air, and you're fine. I think you're golden. It's just the New Day is so over with kids now, and the Usos are so over with everybody else because they're not the New Day that it's stale.
The Usos belong in contention for the tag titles. The New Day does not. They do not need them. The Usos look strong with the belts. It definitely helps that sort of character, because what is the motivation for the Usos if they're not trying to be the best?
Yeah.
But the New Day, they're so fucking like they're
just
over
good
no
the
matter
best.
what.
Right.
No matter what. They don't need the belts.
Yeah, they're just doing the thing, whatever. They're just there, and I guess they have no reason other than to be.
I hate to say this just because their dynamic has been so fun on the Fashion Files.
Mm-hmm.
Run a or especially after this week,
Mm-hmm.
run a program with Ascension against Breezango.
I think the Ascension are dead.
I hope not.
I think that's what happened this week.
They're smoke people now. They have powers over
I really
fog
hope
machines.
that they're not dead.
No,
But to me, the logical conclusion of this is run an actual program with Breezango
It has to
against
be.
the Ascension, because you can make everybody look good again.
and
That's what you need
Breezango
to do.
needs to lose it.
Yes, they do need to lose.
They
it.
need to lose it. Build your Ascension back up as the big bruiser team that can maybe take out the Bludgeon Brothers.
Yeah, because that's what makes sense.
You just get a Hoss fight. And look,
Everybody loves a good house fight.
absolutely. Lars Sullivan and Cassius Ohno was nothing but a Hoss fight, but it was fun to watch. So yeah, give me the Bludgeon Brothers versus the Ascension in an actual, make it like a 15-minute tables match.
I think those
Or a hammers
honestly, I
match.
think that those
Whoa.
three groups are another three groups that, quite frankly, don't need title contention.
Sure.
Breezango would be fun to get into, or Breezango's done a couple things where they've had shots at the belt, and they keep them as the joke guys because they're fun. They are fun.
One of my favorite matches of the year, not an incredibly worked match, but the Usos versus Breezango for the titles early this year. I don't remember what pay-per-view it was, but it was just a Tyler Breeze doing a dress-up gimmick for the entire match, and it was
I love it.
great.
The only other option is create a tag team belt for 205 and drop them down to 205. I hate that being a possible answer, but if they were to create a cruiserweight tag title, then that would make sense to me.
Sure. I'm all for a cruiserweight tag
Because-
title.
And the only reason why I say that is because at 205 they seem to let people take a little bit more control over their gimmicks.
That's fair. Well, the people that have gimmicks.
Right. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think that you could do that. I think that there's enough competitive people in both divisions. I don't understand why you're only getting these two teams as like this back and forth, because I quite frankly think that it's toxic for everybody.
It's tiresome.
Because I went from coming in and the tags were like the most fun things to watch.
Sure.
To Jesus Christ, if I never see another Bar versus Shield match again, or another Usos versus New Day match, it'll be too soon.
Absolutely. It's one of those, like, just thinking back to even 10 years ago, like, you're not getting the same two teams fighting each other every single week, you know, just trading wins back and forth, because then none of those wins mean anything.
Right.
They're just equal teams, and they just lucked out this time and won.
Right, because the whole point of, like, ending Usos and Shield or Usos and New Day at whatever the last thing that they fought in.
Right.
They basically said, this program is done, and now it looks like it's totally not done.
And then it's still going on. We're probably going to get Usos versus Shield at Clash of Champions, and the belt will trade again, and then it'll just be this feud going on again because the Usos have to get their rematch.
And then one day we'll be dead.
Yeah, that's just how that happens. Ad nauseum.
Network put out 365 with Kevin Owens. It was really,
good.
really good. Anything else happening?
Nothing big in the WWE, I don't think.
Thackeray, you got anything? We're all good.
We need to do something with Ziggler, but whatever.
I mean, you hate to say it, but Ziggler's going to job out to NXT guys until he goes away.
I think Ziggler's going to go to New Japan when he leaves.
You think so?
I would bet on it. I think he'll do fine there.
I don't see him going for another title shot.
He's your upper mid card job guy now.
Right.
He's there to make everyone else look better.
Because the thing is, he performs great. They're willing to let him win from time to time. Never on like the final of the feud, but like win enough matches to make it so that it doesn't look like everybody's squashing everybody.
Sure.
As opposed to like the anti-Dana Brooke.
That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah. He's there to make people look good because they're talented and not look good because they won.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, going into Clash of Champions, I'm not really excited about any of this. So, like, we'll see. I'll continue to watch it. Like, everything is pretty telegraphed to this moment. So I hope we get some changes or something excited. Though I'm excited for Corbin Rude, but at this point, you're going to have a all face. At this point, Usos are heels, but they're
so over.
They're over as fuck heels. So you're gonna have an all face championship stable, like an all face championship people. So it'll be interesting. There's gonna be no variety. So we'll see what's happening.
Right.
Go buy next book. It's on shelves now.
Do that
in between days. Like, subscribe, content. Tell your friends. Matt, I know you're listening, and I know that you know people who would like this, you bastard.
If the guy who was sitting in front of us at Rupp Arena who enjoyed our jokes is listening, tell all of your friends too. Because we were snarky assholes the entire time.
He would enjoy it as much as I would enjoy Baron doing something with his hair.
Jinder versus Baron, hair versus hair match.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's the one. Because one of them has like full luxurious hair, and one of them is just barely there.
No, what we need to do is we need to cut Baron's hair to make it a Hogan hair.
Oh,
fuck it at this point.
You Hogan hair?
Yeah.
Baron shaves Jinder's hair and then wears it as a wig.
Good night, you marks.